All right. Well, welcome everybody. I'm Rob Manfredi. I'm the owner of Bamboo Solutions, and we're going to go through three big releases that we pushed out of our products this month. List Rollup, Data Viewer, and Calendar Plus, all for SharePoint Online. Quick start transcript. Recording is started. All right, a transcript. And that is recording. Okay. And you can all hear me okay? Just give me a thumbs up. There's a thumbs up. Thank you, Nicole. All right, so we're going to break this up into three little parts. We're going to do just a quick PowerPoint over how we're pricing, what's changed in the products, a little background on Bamboo. Then we're going to take a quick tour of the website to see how you could do a free 30-day trial of any of the products, and then we're going to look at each of the individual products as well. So first of all, about Bamboo, right? So we're a leading provider of enterprise class software and applications and also consulting services for Microsoft 365 as well as specifically SharePoint. We have over 8,000 customers using our products worldwide. We're a Microsoft Gold partner. We're located here just outside of Washington, D.C. in Reston, Virginia. Our support team is located here in Reston as well as Chicago and Alabama. Say that. Give me an applause if that's the case. We've got some very leading companies that use our products as well as our services, and we'd love to work with you. So we've been around for more than 10 years. We've got over 40 people that are both on the consulting side as well as the product dev and support side. Got a very high customer satisfaction, and we always like to say that our experience makes us the best in class and guarantees really a top-notch experience for you, whether you're using our products or our services, or hopefully both. So let's talk about our products and how they're licensed, because it's a little different than everybody else out there. So we're considered a third-party add-on for our products, and our products are available both from our website as well as the Microsoft App Source. There are more products on our website because there is a period of time it takes to push our products through the Microsoft acceptance criteria to get into App Source. But I think out of the 26 products we have now, I think we've got 11 or 12 of our top sellers already on App Source, and we're adding more of those every month. The way we license our products mimics a lot of how we used to do it on-prem, because that's what our customers expect. And we also know that in corporate America, subscriptions and per user per month licensing is not really the easiest thing to manage. It also creates some operational risk in that if you decide to not subscribe, or if times are tight and you don't want to renew maintenance and keep the product as is, that product will stop working. But not with us here at Bamboo. All of our products are licensed as a perpetual price, and that price covers the license across your entire SharePoint Online tenant. So there are no subscriptions, no per user per month pricing. And I want to note, I'll mention it a couple times, if you have a small business that's, let's say, under 100 users on your SharePoint site, we do have special pricing that we don't publish. Just give us a call, and we'd be happy to quote that for you. That perpetual license will work forever. You can use it across unlimited site collections and sites within your tenant. And the products work solely on modern pages, so they are built in the modern architecture. But that's not true for one of our products that we're going to see today, which is Calendar Plus. Calendar Plus is the only product by Bamboo that also supports SharePoint Classic sites, because it was so used by our on-prem customers, and as they migrated to online, they didn't quite get to the modern experience fast enough, but still wanted that functionality, so we actually developed a classic version of the product that's the same as the modern as well. So that is the only product that works on both modern and classic. The perpetual license price that is listed on our website, we're very transparent about our pricing, includes first year maintenance, which is supports upgrades, and you can use our help desk as much as you'd like. Second year maintenance, if you choose to continue with that maintenance for upgrades and support, is 22% of that purchase price. So it is a licensed maintenance model. So if our product is, let's say, $4,000 for the perpetual license, the following year it'll be $800. We're going to go through a quick little demo of the pricing and how that works. We do have an additional support fee for our larger customers, which is part of the maintenance. So if you have more than 2,000 users on your SharePoint Online tenant, there is an additional support fee per account, not per product. So once you're in the club and part of that enterprise program, if you want to add a second product, you don't need to repay that fee again. It is by the account, not by the number of products you have. That enterprise support cost looks something like this. If you are under 2,000 users on your SharePoint site, it's zero. There's nothing, and you get all these amazing things. If you have between 2,000 and 10,000 SharePoint users, there is an additional per account fee per year of about $2,500 US. That's not by product, that is per account. So once you pay that, then it's just the maintenance cost of each of the products that you decide to buy. And you can see it's a pretty big band there up to 10,000. If you're between 10,000 and 100,000, there's a higher level of support. And we do have some customers with more than 100,000 users. So this way we can keep the product pricing the same for each of the products and then just scale the support costs as needed for our larger accounts that are going to get more value out of the products, but also they open up a lot more tickets for us. It mimics pretty much what the scaling mechanism used to be on-prem for the number of servers that larger accounts used to have, which would scale their price. Again, if you are under 100 users and you're interested in our products, please give us a call and we'll give you special pricing for our small business because we love to support those small businesses. And we also support not-for-profit and educational discounts as well. And all of our products are located on the GSA schedule. So let's go through a quick pricing exercise. You didn't know there was going to be math in this webinar. Trust me, we'll get to the products in a second. All right, so let's say you have 1,000 SharePoint online users and you're looking to buy one product. So you still fall on that under 2,000, so there's no enterprise support costs. So one of the products, let's say Calendar Plus, is $4,000 for perpetual license, which includes first-year maintenance. So you would pay that in year one. In year two, you would get a quote from us for an optional maintenance, or you could purchase it online through our website. And the maintenance renewal for that product would be $878, which is roughly 22% of that $4,000. So pretty straightforward. You can keep adding products and you would buy them, again, the perpetual license in the first year. We do co-terming, we can do purchase orders, you can do credit card purchases. We do all the things that are friendly to businesses out there. Let's look now at a customer that's a little bit larger that has 5,000 SharePoint users and they're looking to buy two products. So in year one, that user would have to buy the tier 2 enterprise support cost, which is at $2,500 a year because they have more than 2,000 SharePoint users. The first product they buy, let's say, is Calendar Plus, which is $4,000 or $3,995. And the second product, I think is Tabify, or maybe Employee Directory Plus, is $1,850. So it's, the prices are on each of the product pages of our websites. So the first year purchase price would be those three numbers added together, which is $8,340. In the second year, they would buy the enterprise support cost again. Again, this is optional maintenance. And then they would pay maintenance for each of those products, which would be roughly $878 and $407 respectively. So their year two optional maintenance to keep support, upgrades, and products and new versions, which we do recommend, especially with how SharePoint is changing in the online world. That's ongoing cost would be $37.80. Again, that's a perpetual license across your entire tenant and the users that you have. Now, if you decide to add a third product, obviously you would just pay the product cost. You wouldn't have to buy the enterprise cost again. That is a one-time per account per year cost, regardless of the number of products you own. Make sense? Awesome. Enough of that. Let's move on. We also have services that support our products that can help you get started. This is solution deployment, it's design and configuration, it's migration of content perhaps for, let's say, our knowledge base. We could do some one-on-one coaching, or we can just put together what it is you want or need to get the product most used and adopted by your organization. So give us a call. We bill in 15-minute increments, and we can build a 2-hour program for you, or we could do a multi-day program if you'd like. In addition, that's our SharePoint Consulting Group, which is an amazing group out there doing stuff across the entire Microsoft 365 platform, can help you with your migrations and support. We also do GCC and GCC High migrations, as well as first day hypercare to get your users connected to those new environments. Set all the settings to comply with CMMC. So if any of you out there have DoD contracts and are looking for a great partner to help you get compliant, we're there for you. We do a bunch of architecture work and roadmap. We have a great program called the Microsoft 365 Plus program, which is actually almost like a managed service for your Microsoft 365 environment, where we set all the security settings. We help with Teams deployment. We help with managing memberships and groups and security. We monitor all your logs weekly and monthly. And we open up our help desk for all your users for anything that they may need help with for a low flat monthly fee and the like. So anything in this whole Microsoft 365 space, give us a call and we could be your partner to help out. All right, so the first product we're going to take a look at today and is our List Rollup product. So List Rollup product was one of our key products on-prem that we've recreated to work in SharePoint Online. And what it allows you to do is bring all of your data together across multiple lists from different or document libraries from different site collections into one grid view, right? So this allows a user to go to a single grid or a single page and then consolidate data, right? From multiple locations into one location. It also supports dynamic discovery. So if you're looking for lists of a certain type within a site collection and you add a new list as part of your business, it will automatically roll that data together if you set the rule to do so. The grid view is included with List Rollup so that you can use that data, sort it, search. You can filter the results from those lists. So if you only wanted a subset of, let's say, only PowerPoints or PDFs from a certain document library to be in the rollup, you could do that. And that way the user would not see any of the Word documents that you may be working on before they're published and converted into a PDF state. You can also filter out unwanted lists. So if you're looking for all lists within a certain site collection and there are a couple lists that you don't want included in the rollup, you can filter those out. And one of the new features we've added is the @me token. And what the @me token does is it allows you to filter the results from that list rollup based on the login user and what's either been assigned to them and the like. So if you're looking at task lists and you're rolling them across multiple projects into a single site, you could filter that to only seeing tasks that are assigned to the current logged in user. Pretty exciting, very useful, something that every site should have. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at how this works and go from there. Where is, yeah, here we go. All right, so the List Rollup is a product that's installed into your app catalog. You enable it on a page. And you've got essentially two components. You have the schema designer, which allows you to create the rollups. And then you've got a schema viewer, which you put on a page. You select the scheme that you want to show, and then it shows the data to the user when they show up. So in this case, I've got a bunch of schemas that I've created that could be used in different grid views across your location. So you have one central area that you're creating these list rollups. And the like. So, for example, I've got one that is pulling information from a doc live and adding filters here. So if we take a look at this schema, we give it a name, we give it a description, and essentially there's a three-step process to build your schema. You grab the lists that you want to roll together, you tell us what lists you want to exclude, and then the columns that you want to display. So when you look at a list and you want to add a list, right, we go through different discovery modes, right? So we can say, I want to look for all lists of the same list type, a same list name, or specific lists, right? When you say the list type, you can say, I want to look at the current site when I choose the list type, all siblings of this site, all subsites, all siblings and subsites, and all sites within the site collection. So this allows you to do that auto discovery of lists or libraries within a certain area to pull that data together. It really is a way to keep the content fresh and dynamic without anything going stale as you add more information in there, right? Excuse me. And the next step, you're going to grab your list selection. So you grab your lists, you load them, and then you grab, I don't know if I have any lists in here. I don't. Yeah, here we go. It brings in all the lists from that site, right, that you want to do. So we're going to grab this document list. So now the discovery mode is going to then find, right, all the same lists of that type in the current site based on what I chose here. So then if we move to the filter, we can then choose from that list what it is we want to show. So in this case, we can grab all the items, which would bring everything up there, or we can build some rules. Some items are things that you could say is, you know what, I want only items that are a .ppt, right? And then you can add another one. And you can say items that are created by, right, equals, and then select a user. So I want only Joe Nickerson's PPTs. So you can keep building this up so that you create essentially a schema of grabbing data from all of the document libraries within this site collection to roll up into a single view. And the document piece is pretty popular with a list rollup because a lot of times there are document libraries and different site collections on your site, and you want to have a central repository without actually having to move everything all the time. So each group can manage their own site collections or their own document libraries, and then you can have a central repository in your, document management library, you may call it, where list rollup is showing all of those items within there. So what happens is you build your schema, and then within your viewer, let's go over here. You can then, hold on, where's my oh, so you give your grid view a name. So in the grid viewer, you grab your schemas that you created, right? And in this case, we'll grab, we were looking at, I don't know if this has anything in it, but you grab the schema that was created, and then the grid view is the user interface to view the schemas that you created in the schema designer. So in this case, we've got a whole bunch of folders and files, or a whole bunch of data that we brought in together. What's nice is this information is sortable. I believe you can move these things around so that you can get them where you want them. And the search also allows the users to look for things that have the word test in it, right? So we've got all these tests and things like that. It is a paginated grid. It's pretty powerful. And then you can go ahead and save your column order if that's something that you want to do versus just something that you're doing here. So again, two components. The first component is list rollup. The schema designer, which allows you to create a schema across multiple lists, either by specifying them or using auto discovery. Once your schema is created, you put grid view on a page, grab that schema, assign it to that grid view, and then the users can interact with the information that was created during that. So this is available for a free 30-day trial. Once you download the trial, our help desk is open to you. We'll help you install it. We'll walk through the product with you. We'll help build your use case out with your first schemas, and then you can use the product with your users to see if it fits your needs. All of that with no credit card, no commitment. We're here to help. We want to be a part of your solution. Awesome. Let's go back now to the next product. All right, Data Viewer, another great list product, right? So what Data Viewer does is it's sort of that grid view, but on steroids, right? So what Data Viewer allows you to do is bring together multiple lists into a sort of an amazing grid, right? That allows you to do inline editing, nesting, sorting, searching, and even doing conditional formatting on the data to make it more usable for your users, right? So we can bring all that data together, much like List Rollup, but a little simpler. One of our plans is to integrate List Rollup into Data Viewer so that you could grab a schema and use it as your data source. But for right now, what you can do is just bring the lists together and then map columns to match them together, which I'll show you in a second. That nested data is then viewed within the Data Viewer product, the conditional formatting, filtering of results. You can change the column names to be more user-friendly, and there's a great export function. So let's go ahead and take a look at Data Viewer and how that works within your SharePoint Online. So here we've got Data Viewer. Let me just refresh this so that we're in a good spot. And what I want to show you, which are these fun little things here, which I got to click on. Got a new tab, this, and a new tab, is we've got two lists. All right, the first list is a list of cars, right? Brands, Ford, Nissan, Chevy, Tesla. Overall customer ratings, whether they're recommended or not, and like. So this could be contracts, it could be product lists, it could be whatever, but just for sake of ease, we're using a very simple example here of one list that's located over here, and a second list that has car makes, right, and models. So Nissan's got Sentra, Maxima, Juke, Rogue. Chevy's got Cruze, Camaro, Spark, Malibu, et cetera, et cetera. And then whether each of these models are recommended, the average customer rating, and the date the data was last updated. So what we want to do is create a data view of both of these lists combined, where we're nesting the data of car make and its ratings with the makes and model and its ratings. So what that ends up looking like is this little data viewer here. So we can see, we can add new items, we can edit in data sheet mode, we can export this to Excel, we can print, we can select a view if you've got views set up for your lists. And then essentially you've got this first list as our parent list. So those were the same car makes that we saw in the list over here, right? In this case, we can kind of move these around, right? So yeah, we can make them smaller, we can make them bigger. We've chosen just a subset of columns to show. But when I click the nested button, it actually looks at the other list and maps the Chevy column, right, to the models, right? So here we can see Chevy and its models. And then we also brought over whether it was recommended and the average customer ratings, right? So we'll go ahead and get this up a little bit. All right, we can add a new nested item right from here, which adds it to that list, but then displays it within here. We can edit this stuff in data sheet mode, which allows us to change items, right, from recommended to not recommended. Right, we can go ahead and save those changes. And then another neat thing is we can take, let me go ahead and unnest this make, or I'm sorry, the make, and drag it up there, and it sorts it. And I say, you know what, I want to see make and recommended, right? So in this case, we're sorting by recommended. So recommended is false, is Ford and Nissan. Recommended is true, is Chevy and Tesla. So by grabbing these, is we can now see what was recommended and what was last updated. All right, so under the recommended, they're grouping now by updated date and the like, so that these columns can actually be used to sort in ascending or descending order. And then actually each of the columns themselves, you can do that, and you can filter the columns as well by the data that you're searching for at the column level. So a lot of things interacting with the data viewer itself, but real power of what data viewer brings you is actually in the setup, right? So let's go ahead and edit this page. Again, you add this product to your app catalog, you add it to a page, and you get essentially the product and this little gear wheel setting. And there's a couple things that we can quickly run through to show you how this is set up. And all of our products pretty much work the same way. So the first, we're going to work left to right across these, and we're going to start with our data sources. So the original SharePoint list is located in this site collection. You're going to load all your lists. We're going to choose that data viewer list 1, which was the one we saw up here. And then from there, we can go in and actually say, out of all the columns we see, we're just going to choose the columns that we want to display in our data viewer. Then we can actually alias those columns to make them more user-friendly, right? So in these, they're the same, but stats last updated, we just changed to last updated. You can also change the order in which those columns are displayed, so you're not totally driven by what the original order of the columns were in the underlying list. And then you can also change the column width and the justification either to a fixed or auto, and you can also justify these left or right, the data within it. So that's pretty nice in creating something that is a subset of data that's more usable for the user and their specific needs. Okay, once we've got that done, what we can do is actually go ahead, and if it's a document library or there are folders, we can actually show all the items inside the folders, or show all items without folders, which would unpack everything from the folders as you view them. And then you can go ahead and define your sort. So you can see we've actually sorted these items, right? And we can see we've shown items in ascending order, ABC, based on make. So you can actually show the sort a little bit differently depending on what it is you want to show. And then you can actually have a subsort on this main one as well. Then on the filtering and grouping, you can automatically set that up as well. Or you can do what I did, which was drag and drop to the top, and you can have the user sort the like. You can create a view or a custom filter, again, of the data. So if you only wanted to show a subset of data in Data Viewer, you could actually go through and do the same thing that we saw in List Rollup, where you create a subset view of the data there. Now that's all for that parent item. When we get into data analysis, we can then choose, we can then choose what is the nested data that we're going to add. So the nested data is grabbing a second list. It is in the same site collection that we had specified before. Here is the list that we're going to do, which is number 2 over here, right? We can do the same thing in selecting the columns that we want to display. And then here we're going to say we're going to nest the data source, which is make, right here, and we're going to match that up to model. Why does that also say make? That doesn't make any sense. So the parent source is model. It should be make. Maybe they're the same, but you get the idea. You can map which columns are going to queue off each other to create these nested relationships. And that's nice because they don't have to necessarily match in name. You can map them from one to another, right? Then you can choose to show the same items. You've got your sort order and things like that. And once you've done that, you can go ahead and set up your conditional formatting, right? Which you can say, look, if recommended contains yes, then change the formatting of it, right? In the same way, you can do calculations. You can add a rule for calculating where you can say, you know what? I want to sum one of these fields, or I want to average max min, give it a label, grouping it together, and then it will actually calculate totals based on the columns that are in there. So some really nice things on conditional formatting and calculating. And then your general settings, which just help out things that you want to have on the page or not have on the page for the user. So pretty powerful, very easy to do. Again, 30-day free trial, no cost. We'll help you set it up. We'll bring your data together. Right now it is just 2 lists that can be brought together, but again, we're looking at adding list rollups so that you can create a schema and bring that into Data Viewer to do a little more than you could with just the grid view with list rollup, and go from there. All right, moving right along. Our last product is one of our flagship products, which is Calendar Plus. Calendar Plus allows you to bring multiple calendars together into a single unified view. And it's essentially a SharePoint calendar on steroids. So you may have calendars that are being managed by different groups and different site collections, and you want to bring those together into a single calendar, maybe at an HR site or at a top level site. And you may only want to bring, let's say, 4 or 5 of those calendars together, but I only want to see a certain set of items within those calendars. I want to color code them. That's what Calendar Plus does. And with our licensing, you can add Calendar Plus to all of your calendars and just provide a much richer experience for your users within your SharePoint Online site. So let's take a look at what Calendar Plus looks like. All right, so here we see 4 calendars: Oversight, Events, Project 1, and Project 2, integrated into a single view. Well, in this grid, we've got lots of different views. We can look at a day view, a week view, a month view, right? The month view includes the Sunday and Saturday. We've got a month weekdays view, which gets rid of Sunday and Saturday if you want. We have an agenda view, which brings in only days in an agenda format that have items with it. We, of course, support 3-month, quarterly, and year view. You can see right away on the month view, actually probably not in this demo, that we can make these grids pretty big so that you can see a lot of information in each of the columns, not just the 2 that is with the SharePoint out-of-the-box experience. In addition, we ensure that each of these are protected still by your SharePoint security. So if I don't have access to the oversight calendar, yet you've rolled it together, I won't see it, but I still will be able to see the other ones. And that's unlike the merge together on the out-of-the-box SharePoint functionality. We support pop-up tooltips, so you can decide which other fields from the calendars or lists that you want to show in the pop-up category. And then these are also filterable. So I can turn off an events and oversight, and it will take those items out of there. And I can actually even zoom in on just certain category types to bring them in. I can minimize these if I'd like. And I can do an unselect all, which turns them all off, and then I can just turn on one project. So a lot of neat things there. The order of the legend is also changeable and configurable. So as you add your calendars and you want events to be at the top, you can just simply move it to the top, as well as the categories within each of these. I can also add new events to all of the underlying calendars as long as I have permission, straight from this view, and the like. So let's take a look at some of the quick configurations you can do with this, and then before we move on. So again, edit mode, hit our gear wheel, pop up with the configurator, and we can see we support both a calendar, a Gantt, and a list view. So you choose the view that the user is going to see. You can choose to allow users to create events from this calendar or not, which disables or enables the new button. And then on the month view, you can see how many items that you want to have in the cell. You can make it as big or small as you want. And then in the 3-month, year, and quarterly view, how many items do you want to see before you get the more button at the bottom. So that's just some general settings there. The real meat and potatoes is here at the data source, where you give your calendar a name. Doesn't have to be the same name as the calendar that's in the sublist. A color, font site, size. You give us the URL where that list or calendar works. It can be a list with just date and times in it. You grab the list that has that information, and then you tell us out of that list, what is the title field, what's the start date, what's the due date, and then what do you want to include in the tooltip, right? So if you want to put more things in there, you can. And that's the tooltip we see when we hover over. And then which of the fields is your category? So if I chose, let's say, assign to, it'll go and grab all of the unique items, and then I can turn on or off and change the color code for each of the categories that I want in there. So we'll go into category. And so if I didn't want research and marketing in this, I can do that. We can also use an existing calendar view to filter that data, or you can specify a condition, right? That as much like we did in this roll-up, filters out data based on what you put in here, right? So then you just wash, rinse, and repeat. So we add another calendar, which we've got our project 2. We've got our events calendar, and we've got this one down here at the bottom. I keep adding as many as I'd like. Some other nice things that you've got is you can choose which views that you want to show across here. So here I can turn on or off any of the views I have. I can also change what is my default view for when the user comes in. I can choose to show week numbers. I can also group meetings by week number, and I can choose my starting day as Sunday or Monday, depending on what part of the world you're in. And then I can move the legend around to bottom left to right. I can choose to display it or not, and I can turn it on or off, and some other nice things. So once I've got all those changes made, I click submit, republish, and that calendar is ready to use by your users on the site. And you can see it's just a much better experience than the regular out-of-the-box calendar. All right. So I think that about wraps up what we wanted to go through. Here's my contact information. Our website is www.bamboosolutions.com. All of our trials are there under the product section. If you need help with a trial, reach out to me or just contact us through the Contact Us form, and we'd love to get you started. So thank you all for coming. And if there are no questions, I'll hang around for a minute. Have a great day. All right. Thank you all.